I've been a Mac user for almost 2 decades and I'm still finding new tips, tricks, and settings that I somehow never knew about before. So in this video, I'll be showing you more than 40 Mac tips that you probably did not know existed. And if you find at least one new tip in this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. So first off, did you know that you can hold the command key to interact with anything that is not in the foreground? So for example, I have this main window right here, and if I wanted to resize this window, this other Safari window that's behind it, if I hold the command key, it will allow me to do that without selecting the window and putting it over the main window here in the foreground. So you can see I can resize it, I can move it around as well. So if I wanted to move it to a different part of the screen, I can do that when holding command. I can even select text in here without ever going over top of this main window. Okay, so by now you probably already know that you can put any video in picture-in-picture by double right-clicking on the video and going to enter picture-in-picture. But there's an easier way, because now if you go up to the page controls menu right here, you can either click and then go to video viewer, or you can just click and hold on this page controls menu and it will automatically put that video in the video viewer. And then when you go to a different window or even a different tab, it will automatically put that video into picture-in-picture mode. And when you have that video in picture-in-picture mode, you can move it to any of the four corners on your screen. You could also resize it. However, if you hold the command key, you can move this window, this picture-in-picture view, to wherever you want. It's not just restricted to one of the four corners. So if I wanted it right here for some reason, I can have that and I can press play and it will stay there while I do something else on my computer. You can also easily enter the reader view on Safari if you press and hold on the menu options right there as well. So instead of just clicking one time and then going to show reader, you can just press and hold or click and hold on that and it will pull up the reader view. Now also, you can force a reader view. So for example, if I refresh right here, you'll notice that it automatically gives me the reader view. How I did that is in our settings. Just go into the websites menu and then make sure you're on reader. And from here, it will show your currently open websites and you just select this to on if you want it to automatically go into reader view every time you go into an article on that web page. And by the way, if you want to easily add an item to your favorites bar, all you have to do is take the text in the address bar, click and drag and move that down to your favorites, and there you go. Okay, so I think most people already know about the Command C, Command V, Command A, all the obvious keyboard shortcuts, but I want to share some of my favorite lesser known keyboard shortcuts that save me a lot of time on a daily basis. And the first one is actually a pretty unconventional keyboard shortcut, but it's inside of YouTube and it's a quicker way to change chapters. So if you're on a video that has chapters like this one right here, all you have to do is hold the command key and then use the arrow keys to go back and forth between different chapters. And you could also use J to go back 10 seconds, L to go forward 10 seconds, K to pause, or you could also use the space bar to pause and play. And then if you select some text, most people would right click right here if they want to go into any of these other options in the contextual menu. But now with macOS Sequoia, you can open the contextual menu by simply pressing Control Return, and that will automatically pull up the contextual menu, and you can use the arrows to go up and down and choose between these different options. And if you have multiple windows opened up from the same application like I have right here of Safari, you can easily cycle through those open windows by pressing on the Command and tilde keys. So if you press Command tilde, it will go between these different windows that I have opened. Now also, you can cycle through open applications, not just from the same application, by pressing Command Tab. That will open up this right here, and you can continue pressing on Tab, and then once you deselect the command key, it will open up that application. And if you want to go in the other direction, all you have to do is hold Shift, and now you can hold Shift and Command and then press Tab to go backwards in that order. And to take this a step further, if you have a window that's minimized and you release the command key while you're over top of it, you'll notice that it will not pull that window up. However, if I go back to notes right here and then I hold the Option key and then deselect or release my finger from the command key while holding Option, it will pull up that minimized window. If you select text from a website and then you just press Command V to paste it, you'll notice that it keeps all of the the formatting, the hyperlink, the bold, all of that. However, if you press Command Option Shift V, it will paste that same text without the formatting. If you want to move quicker between a body of text, if you hold the Option key, that will allow you to go back and forth between words. And if you hold the Command key and use the arrows, that will go back and forth between the different lines. So if you want to go to the beginning or the end of the line, just hold Command and use the arrows. And you could also combine either the Option or Command key with Shift, and that will select. So if I'm holding Option and Shift, that will select the word to the left or the right. So you can see that right there. And if I want to select this whole line, I can switch that from Command, Shift, and arrow and press on left, and that will select the rest of the text in that line. And if I press the up arrow, it will select everything above that as well. You could also use Command H to hide every window from a certain application without minimizing it. So you'll notice it does not show up down here as minimized, and that's because it is hidden. You can get it unhidden by simply clicking on it in the dock down here, or of course going to Command Tab and selecting it from there. And you could take that a step further as well. So if you want to hide every window except for the front window, the one in the foreground, all you have to do is press Option Command H, and that will hide every window besides the main one. So if you press the volume up or volume down key, it will increase or decrease the volume by a full square. However, if you only want to increase or decrease the volume by 1/4 of a square and be more precise with that, you could just press Option Shift and then press one of the up or down keys for the volume, and you will get a more precise change for the volume. And then here's something a lot of people don't realize you can do. You can set your own custom keyboard shortcuts. So if you go into your settings and go down to keyboard and then go to keyboard shortcuts and then go down to app shortcuts and then click on the plus, this will allow you to create a custom keyboard shortcut for anything that has a menu title. So that can be anything up here, for example, or if I select this text and right click, anything in here, all I have to do is type in what it says right here, and then I can have that set to be a keyboard shortcut. So for example, if I go to writing tools, and let's just say I use compose feature a lot. So compose is right here. So all we need to do is enter compose with these 3 dots. And we'll set our custom keyboard shortcut to be Command Shift C. So there we go, we have that. And now if I go into here and press Command Shift C, it will automatically pull up the compose with ChatGPT. So that's a little bit quicker than going up here to writing tools and selecting it that way. It's easier when you have your own custom keyboard shortcuts to do pretty much anything in the menu. And speaking of ChatGPT, you can have ChatGPT reference documents or applications on your screen. So all you have to do is make sure that ChatGPT is turned on in your settings. And then up here in the type to Siri, just start it off with ChatGPT right away. I like to put ChatGPT : and then you can say, look at my screen and explain the third paragraph. And when I type that in, it will automatically take a screenshot of my screen and send that to ChatGPT so it knows what to reference and give me an answer. So it's really handy to know that ChatGPT can see the data and see the information on your screen, and you can ask questions against it. But do you know who else can see your information? Data brokers. And that's where today's sponsor, Incogni, comes in to save the day. Data brokers and people search sites are constantly collecting and selling your personal information and posting it online for anybody to find with a simple Google search. This includes information like your address, your phone number, your login credentials, and more. And I used to get tons of random spam text messages and emails until I got my information removed from all of those people search websites using Incogni. Now, thankfully, I never had anybody show up at my house or steal my identity or anything like that, but I'm sure that's happened to some people out there since this data is so easily accessible. So Incogni's automated system works around the clock, reaching out to data brokers on your behalf to request the removal of your personal data. It's super simple to use as well. You just create an account, tell Incogni what data you want removed, and just sit back and let their system do its thing. And I'll tell you what, if you do a Google search for your phone number or your email and you see your name pop up with it, you need Incogni. And thankfully for you, you can get 60% off of an annual plan by using my special link down in the description below, or just use code Butch at checkout. Okay, so here's a good one if you have a routine where you open up the same applications every single day. Instead of going down here and just clicking on each one individually, you can click on one icon in your dock to open up multiple applications. So to do this, go to your shortcuts application, click on the plus in the toolbar, and from here, you want to look for for open app, and mine is pinned right here. If you want to pin any of these actions, you just right click and you select pin. So we're going to go to open app right here, and you want to select the applications that you want to open. So if I go to Audacity, for example, there we go. And now I can right click and duplicate this and add however many applications you want to add into here. And then once you're done with the applications, just right click on the shortcuts and go to add to dock. And there you go. Once you click on that icon, it will open up whatever applications you said to open up inside of the shortcuts. Here's a relatively new menu bar item that you might not have even known existed. And this is for weather. So you can see up here, it shows the temperature along with the conditions. And if you click on that, it will show the hourly along with the low and the high and all of your other cities. You can easily add this by going into your settings, control center, and go all the way to the bottom under menu bar only, look for weather and set that to show in menu bar. And by the way, if you want to move these menu bar items, you could just hold the command key and move them over to whatever order you would like. And you might be wondering what that key icon is in the menu bar. And if you click on that, that will show your passwords from the passwords application. And if you're on a site, it will show that as your suggested passwords right here. And to enable this, all you need to do is go into your passwords and go to settings. And right here, we have show passwords in menu bar. If you're in Finder and you want to know what a file looks like, if it's an image or a document, you can just simply press on the space bar and that will pull up the quick look menu. And from here, you can move this around. You can also resize that. However, you could also, if you're going to select multiple files while the preview is opened, hold the command key and then select another file, and you can continue to see the latest file in the preview here. And if you deselect it, it will go back to the previously most recent selection right there. This can be handy when you're selecting multiple files. And if you want to quickly rename a file, instead of right clicking on the file and going to rename, that's the long way. All you have to do is hit return. That's it. Once you have a file selected, just hit the return key and then you can type in whatever you want, hit return again, and there you go. Now here's a handy one. So if you have a file or a folder that you use frequently, you can drag this over to the favorite section over here on the sidebar, and then you will be able to easily access that folder or that file right there. Now you can also do this for the top toolbar. You can pin it up here to the toolbar in Finder if you hold down on the command key and then click and drag that folder up here, and there you go. Now you have quick and easy access to it from the top of your Finder. And the best part is this also works for applications. So Audacity, for example, if I press on the command key and then drag this up here, there we go. Now I have an application and a folder always up at the top of my Finder. And you might be wondering, why would you have an application at the top of your Finder window? Well, I actually do this for audio files. So I take my audio file after it saves, and then I simply drag it over to the icon for the application I want to open it up in. So for example, I want to open up this file in Audacity, I can just drag it right here instead of dragging it down to the dock. It takes a little bit longer to do that, and I just find it more convenient when it's right there in the Finder. And if you want to take this another step further, you could also add a file or a folder down to the dock. So for this, you could either, once you have it on the sidebar, right click on that and you can go to add to dock right there, or you could just take that folder and then hold down, drag on it and move it over here to the left of the trash icon and let go, and there you go. Now you have your folder right there, and from here you can right click on that and you can change these options. So if you want to sort it by date added, you can do that, and then you can display it as a folder down here instead of a stack. And you can also view the content differently. So when I click on that now, it opens up in this view right here. But if I want that to show up in a fan view, I can select that and it changes the view. And by the way, if you want to get rid of these icons up here in the Finder, just right click in the empty space and go to customize toolbar, and you can just simply drag these out and it will remove them. And by the way, I would highly recommend having AirDrop up here as well. So if you take that out, it's just right here, just drag this up to the top, and there you go, you have AirDrop, a quick and easy way to AirDrop from Finder. Now here's a tip I've shared a few times on the channel, but every time I share it, there are new people who never knew that you could do this. So inside of your settings, if you go to desktop and dock and go all the way down to the bottom, we have hot corners. Hot corners is awesome because it allows you to go to that corner to, access a specific action. So quick note, for example, and if I change this in the left to Launchpad, now if I go down here to the bottom left, you can see it will launch the Launchpad. However, what most people don't know is that you could add modifier keys to this. So when you're going to select what what you want that hot corner to do, just hold a modifier key like Option or Command, for example. So I like holding the Option key here. So now if I hold Option and go to the right, that's when it's going to lock the screen. So let me show you an example. If I go up to the top right of the lock screen, you can see nothing happens now. But if I hold Option and go to the top right, it locks my screen. Now here's a feature you'll want to enable if you have a MacBook or if you're using a Magic Trackpad. So go into your settings, go to Accessibility, and then go down to Pointer Control. And from here, go to Trackpad Options, and you want to turn on Use Trackpad for Dragging and change the dragging style to 3-finger drag. Now you can take 3 fingers, put them on your trackpad, and this will allow you to drag files and windows around. If you're uploading a file on your web browser, or if you just want to relink a file in Final Cut Pro, for example, when you're video editing, if you have the file already located in your Finder window, but if you go onto the upload screen right here, it's going to take you too long to go into this path that you see all the way down here. All you have to do to quickly get this into the upload window right here is just simply drag the file here, and it will automatically take you to that location in the upload little window here. And by the way, if you're wondering how I got the path at the bottom of my Finder, just go into the Finder application and go up to View, and from here you want to turn on Show Path Bar. Mine says Hide Path Bar, but yours will say Show Path Bar if that is not enabled. And if you select Show Status Bar, that will show you the amount of storage remaining. Okay, so let me ask you this question. What button do you think is the most important on macOS? Well, if you said Option, you are correct, because the Option key is a hidden superpower, honestly, on macOS. And there are several instances of where Option is useful. But one of my favorite ones is if you're going to quit an application, if it's not responding and you right click, you only get the option to quit. And sometimes if it's unresponsive, it will not quit the application. But if you hold Option, it will allow you to force quit that application, and that will always work. If you want to open up the brightness settings very easily, just hold the Option key and press either brightness up or down, and that will automatically open up the brightness settings. And same goes with volume. If you hold Option and press on one of the volume keys, that will automatically open up the sound settings. And by the way, you could also do this when you're already in your settings. So if I go to Option and brightness up, you can see it takes me to the display settings. Option volume, it takes me to the sound options. And here's one I use all the time. If you hold Option and click on the date and time right here, that will turn on Do Not Disturb automatically. And even in menus, like if I go to Finder, for example, and I hold the Option key, take a look at some of the additional options that I get right here. Same with Edit, same with View, also Window. You can minimize all, zoom all, you can bring all to front or arrange in front. If I go to Go, it allows me to go to the library folder, which is not as easy to access without it. And it's also really handy when you're trying to organize your desktop. So if you hold the Option key, this will show you the windows, the areas where you can move this window instead of moving it there yourself and sometimes having to guess where it's going to end up. If you hold Option, it will always show you where that window will end up before you let go. Now here's a feature I use all the time, but it's kind of hidden in settings and you might not know about it. So if you go into your settings and go to Accessibility and then into Zoom, right here we have Use Scroll Gesture with modifier keys to zoom. I have that turned on and I have my modifier key set to Control, but you can have that set to whatever you want right there. So now if I hold my modifier key, which is Control, and scroll in with my mouse, scroll bar right there, it will zoom in on whatever application I'm in. So Spotlight Search automatically stays in the spot that you had it last. So if I have it down here, next time I go into Spotlight Search, it's going to stay down here. Now, yes, you can try to move it back to the center, but if you want a perfect way to get it back in the center, all you have to do is press and hold on the spotlight icon in the menu bar. So I press and hold, it will automatically put that back in its default position. If you have a PDF form and when you click, it does not allow you to insert any text, instead of going up here and going to, add a text field and then typing it in and moving it right there, that's the slow way. You can actually click on this icon right here, and this will allow you to have the form filling toolbar. So now when you click on that, that will automatically detect that these are sections where you need to put text. And now you can click right there and it will not only give you the opportunity to fill it out without dragging your text, but also autofill. So it will show my name right here. And if I select that, it will input all of my information in there that is applied to my, contact. So if I had my address saved right there, it would add my address, my city, my state, all of that. Now also, if you want to sign a document quickly, so if you go down here to the signature, if you go up here to the markup tool and then you go to signatures, you can see I have my saved signatures right here. If you don't have any saved, you can go to create signature. So if you have a trackpad, you can sign with a trackpad, or you can use your iPhone or your iPad to sign for you to create your signature. So if I go to select device and I go to my main phone right here, on my phone, there will be a little area where I can sign with my finger, and there we go. And once I've added my signature from my phone, I can click on done, and now that will be saved to my signatures, and all I have to do is click on that, and there we go. My signature is right there in that PDF, easy. And by the way, if you have other PDFs, you can easily combine these together by simply dragging one page over to another PDF like so, or if you have multiple PDFs in your files or in your Finder right here, if you select both and right click, go down here to quick actions, and you can create PDF using both of those. So now it automatically created that. And when we go in there, you can see that both PDFs have been combined. Now here's a tip I've used multiple times for thumbnails and just for other, graphic design purposes. So if you want to save the app icon for any application you have on your dock, it is very simple. So all you have to do is right click. So we'll go to cursor right here, and we're going to go to options and go to show in Finder, and it's going to take us to our applications folder right here. And from here, right click on that and go to get info. And from here, you will see the cursor icon. All you want to do is select that. You will see that it's selected with the blue outline, and then just simply press Command C to copy. And now you want to open up the preview application, the default preview app, and go to File, New from Clipboard. And from here, it will automatically have a perfect version of that app icon with no white background or anything, and it's in its full resolution as well. And speaking of applications, if you want to install large applications or large games on an external hard drive, you now can with macOS Sequoia. So if you go into your App Store settings and go right here to download and install large apps to a separate disk, and it will tell you that apps that are larger than 1 gig will download and install to your disk. So it can be an external disk right here, which is great. You could always do that for applications, from third parties before, but now you can do this by default for App Store applications. And that's very handy for big, beefy applications like Xcode or Final Cut Pro, especially if you did not upgrade your Mac's default SSD. Now, I showed you earlier with window snapping how you can hold the Option key to see where your window is going to end up and show you the different options. But if you want an easier and quicker way for window snapping, you can go up to Window right here and go to Move and Resize, and this will show you the keyboard shortcuts for those specific halves. And you can see that quarters do not have any keyboard shortcuts, but we're not only going to create some for quarters, but also make these halves keyboard shortcuts a little bit easier, because these are pretty unorthodox when they use the globe key, at least for me. So we're going to go into our settings and go to keyboard, and then into keyboard shortcuts. And from here, we're going to go to app shortcuts and click on the plus under all applications. And for our menu title, we're just going to go back to our window, go to move and resize, and we're going to choose which action we want to do. So for example, if I want to do the bottom right, we're just going to type in bottom right as the menu title, and keep in mind it is case sensitive, and we're going to do shift down and click on done. And now if we go into our notes, for example, and I want to put this in the bottom right hand corner, we're going to use our keyboard shortcut we just made. So that is shift down, and there we go. It goes into the bottom right hand corner. So there you have it. Those are 40 Mac tips and tricks that you might not have known about. I'm sure you knew about some of them, but I'm hoping you found at least one new tip or trick in this video. If you did, let me know. Give me a thank you by just giving this video a thumbs up, and also leave a comment down below with which tip you liked the best. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.